Yeah, I just watched the last episode again also.
Yeah, I had to power watch through here. This is the one that I had to watch a few this morning, but I'd finished almost all of it yesterday. Although the last couple, last night I was a little drunk for
Yeah.
the best notes, but still,
Yeah,
it worked out.
I got notes on most of them except for maybe like five episodes. But yeah, I managed to like kind of get through them in these past couple days.
Yeah, same. And this season was like there were a few episodes that were almost nothing. That's
Hmm.
like memorable. There's like maybe a one-liner that I was like pretty good and I laughed, and then the rest were just like, ah. Again,
Yeah.
we covered, yeah, we're on season 10. This is 10 years of the characters and all that, We'll get to some repeated plot lines and stuff. But sometimes they do it in like a good way when they repeat the plot lines and, because even overall, it's like, the wokeness is definitely more in this season than
Hmm.
like ever before, but it doesn't like completely overtake the show, which I think is a good example of just how pernicious it is. It just like deflates certain things in the show.
Yeah, and I think they sort of use it to their advantage in a way where they can kind of, even though they are going along with it, they kind of highlight how this is like something new that people aren't really used to, are like it takes a little bit, yeah, getting used to. Because I mean, as writers, they were probably trying to navigate that. A lot of them have been with the show since the beginning, so a lot of those type of, oh, you can't say this all the time, wasn't really going on. So I mean, there's a couple episodes where it's like it seems like they are kind of acknowledging that.
Yeah, the oppressiveness kind of the you don't know what, and it's telling that they use, Cam in a lot of those situations, not just
Mhm.
Jay and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh uh because I think they are trying to like, yeah, capture the cultural moment in a way where everybody felt like they were walking on eggshells. Um, anything you said could and would be used against you in the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, you had professional athletes getting like having to publicly apologize for like tweets from like 2010 or something, like
Mhm.
at the time, like 10-year-old tweets and all that. Like it was just we're already, I mean, everybody remembers it, but we're already kind of memory holing it too, particularly with the art. But yeah, again, I think that's why I think this show worked so well with the thesis. And again, listeners that haven't listened to the whole thing, go back and listen to the whole thing. We have 10 episodes now out there of this. We have over 30 hours of discussing how we're viewing this and the thesis and its overall cultural impact and all of that. But just the idea that you can see the wokeness kind of corrupt the culture through a great kind of popular sitcom like this, and it how it diminishes uh, a lot of the writing and jokes, and then also everything else that comes with it too. But this season is definitely they lean hard into it, particularly like I've been hinting at listeners that have been listening to the whole thing. With Manny and Alex are like the kind of mouthpieces for it. And in the defense of the writers, if they're supposed to be college students at this time, right? So of course they're very much it makes sense for the characters to be completely, immersed in the woke kind of liberal arts college, thing that was happening. So I think the writers were trying to do that, like trying to make it more believable, like, oh, this is what the college kids are doing now. Because, dude, that was one thing when this wokeness was taking over and people were losing jobs. Literally, Ezra Klein at the New York Times was saying things like, oh, I don't care what happens on college campuses. Like, oh, it's
Mhm.
just some crazy college kids, before the institutions were being, spectrally raped by these false allegations. There's
Mhm.
even a funny bit with Jay, like in this season about misunderstandings. People think he's like taking a pass at them or something when he's trying to talk about like the golf at his like country club.
Yeah, the
Uh,
swingers.
yeah, the swingers, yeah, and
Heavy.
Bored.
Heavy.
I am heavy. Bored.
all that. And again, this is another episode of Heavy Board. Uh, and we are joined once again, you know him now. Eric is back, and we're doing season 10. Season 10 of Modern Family. So this was the one, listeners. This was 2018 through 2019, premiering September 26th on in 2018. And at this point, if you've been listening, you know what we're going for, you know what we're doing here. But as always, Eric, how did season 10 watch for you as we were preparing and all that?
Yeah, the penultimate season.
Yeah.
Um,
And I wonder if, I don't know if they knew that at the time or not either. Yeah, because, it was so popular, but
I mean,
streaming was coming in. Yeah.
they knew by the last, at least the start of the last season, just because I was looking at some of the episode titles, and they were titled like "The Last Christmas"
Right.
stuff like that. But yeah, by season 10, they had to know at least it wasn't going to last for too much longer.
I mean, 10 years is a
Um,
great run. Yeah, for a
yeah,
show. Like 10 years is unheard of for a show. Like, that's great.
and I mean, you could tell like they really didn't use Manny as much. He was like faded out a little bit. I mean, there were some episodes that centered around him, but I mean, he just for a guy that was of every previous season, it's just like they kind of tossed him to the side a little bit. The same with Alex sometimes. This was really a season, and I think they've sort of been building up to it. Like, which one of the kids are we going to focus on when they grow up? And
Right.
it's Haley. It's obviously Haley.
Has to be.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Luke doesn't really do much. Again, Lily is barely has a role. Joe, again, they use him for like one-liners, like cute kid comedy stuff, but nothing really serious. Uh, and they also tried Cal, who Mitch and Cam are taking care of. They kept him in, and I feel they tried to do something with him, but it didn't work. So they just kind of got rid of him halfway through. Uh, this felt like they were scrambling more, the writers, to try to find like what's the show going to be now.
Right.
Uh, because I think they had run out of storylines for Antonio and Maria and Phil and Claire and Cam and Mitch. They've done almost everything. So yeah, this felt like there were some screwball moments, like just over the top ridiculous stuff that they normally wouldn't try. Um, but I mean, they did try a little bit in previous two seasons, but this is just there's a lot of it, and then there's a lot of serious, emotional, heartfelt stuff, and then there's some other old, normal, good Modern Family writing mixed in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, because you can tell they're this is what wokeness does to art too, with the cultural stuff, is when you're running out of things, like something like the cultural references will start to fill gaps and things that try to use. Not that they were doing this purposefully, it was just the culture at the time, it was just so you start filling in cultural references with things. And of course, even watching it, not that long ago, barely 6 years removed, 7 years removed. It was shot. It is kind of telling like how little a lot of those bits, the woke bits, they really don't hold up, because it was just some of them do, some do, but it's rare because it was such a cultural like threatening force like in everybody's life for a while there. There's a few parts we're gonna get to with like Alex where she kind of stands up and gives some speech, and it's just not even funny. Like it's just kind of like, okay, Alex is here,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But still kind of enjoyable. Like when I was watching through it, I had I had to do squeeze it in because as many regular listeners know, I had a baby a few weeks ago here, so I have a newborn. And I was squeezing in watching this, at night after all the kids are asleep and stuff, and I have family here, and we were laughing, we were watching the episodes, and there's still classic sitcom bits, there's still good jokes, like good confessional one-liners, especially Jay. I think Ed O'Neill has really been shining, like as even in the way that they try to denigrate him,
Mhm.
because he's a straight white male who's old. Uh, he's still just he has a lot of great lines, a lot of great one-liners, like just classic Ed O'Neill, classic sitcom dad kind of like tropes that just you can't do anymore. So every
He is
dad
the
has to be
best.
like Phil Dunphy and like all like
Yeah,
caring and like empathetic.
he is like the best part of the season. I mean, maybe almost every season, but I mean, Phil used to be a lot better.
Yeah.
But the way they write him is just like a little bit more goofy, and I don't know, you feel sorry for him and you pity him more. Whereas
Same.
Jay is like is still very relatable and funny. And there's just something that Ed O'Neill brings. Like it's that experience of, I think, just playing Al Bundy and that sort of character that can kind of humiliate themselves and humble themselves a little bit, but also be that like, have, alpha male energy,
Yeah.
and just that round character that's just very easy to write for him specifically. That's why I think that he's always a star because the writers just have an easier time with him with storylines.
And just to like the iconic status level that somebody like Ed O'Neill has, you know, maybe somebody like Ty Burrell or Eric Stone Street will have this in 20 years when they're older and cast in like another sitcom, you know, years later making like, oh, hey, yeah, I missed having Ed O'Neill on TV or something, you know. And that maybe that's coming with some of those other actors that are younger than him, but he just had the more established like icon status. And like, yeah, the writers clearly are using that and clearly he has the skills. And we'll talk about this because at the end of season 11, there's like a documentary about the making where a lot of the actors say, like, especially the kids, when they were doing scenes with Ed O'Neill, you know, he was really helpful. He would help them. He would sit with them and just be like, hey, you know, we got to do this. Let's figure out a way to do this together, you know, and all like they said they've made everybody really comfortable working with him, especially since he was like the big star and stuff, even from like day one, you know, like Hollywood guy. Everybody else was an unknown for the most part. And yeah, he just has that class, that old school Empire Hollywood class about him when he's working with other actors, and then you see it on screen and all that. But yeah, man, Ed O'Neill's great in this, as of course, as we've been saying. Episode one, I Love a Parade. It's
Yeah,
called. And this one is, I didn't have too many notes, but there were some funny parts. Again, I've noticed, yeah, Calhoun is back, of course. Pam's fucking kid. We've had like a
yeah,
season and a half of that happening, like started in season eight, end of season eight, all of season nine or whatever, and then in the beginning of
yeah,
season 10 here with Cam and Mitch taking care of this like farm boy who's like super strong or whatever. It's like eats like a garbage disposal. Which I was like, oh man, that means they're bringing Pam back at some point, which they do, and we'll get to, and it's terrible and unfunny.
yeah.
Uh,
But you could tell they're trying to get rid of her. They just don't know
yeah.
exactly how.
I think it's partly how that actress plays it too. Like, it could be funny if she didn't go
Yeah,
so ham with it. Like,
yeah.
uh,
That's more like her act. It's a little bit beneath the style of show that they're trying to create. That's more of like that would work on like Two and a Half Men, like one of those live action,
yeah,
or live
studio
the
audience.
studio audience, yeah, show sitcoms. But for them, I think they want something a little bit more elevated. And she was just, yeah, ham-fisted performance. And yeah, they kind of replace her with Calhoun. Like, okay, we'll see if we can do something with the kid, and they really don't through the rest of the series. But
And my big notes on this one were Dylan's back, and this has been a running gag where they always kind of bring Dylan back somehow, and it's usually pretty funny, but this one isn't as funny. And it's also they rewrite the previous plot from season 9 when all the boyfriends show up at the hospital for Haley, in order to kind of bring him back and include make him deeper into the storylines and stuff. Although it
yeah,
was kind of always hinted at, she keeps going back to Dylan, and there's a huge episode here where Dylan and her like genius Nobel laureate boyfriend or whatever are like competing for her. And other than that, my note on this is there's the Tuskegee Airmen reference because
yeah,
this was the time when like we all had to, if you didn't know Black history, you were a racist or something. If you didn't know every specific thing, although most people knew about the Tuskegee experiments and then the airmen in World War II, you know, they're what they did, etc. There's been movies made
Yeah,
Um,
on HBO when I was a kid, the Tuskegee Airmen movie with
is it Cuba
uh,
Gooding?
Cuba Gooding and also Fishburne, Lawrence
Oh,
Fishburne
right, right.
was really big.
So
So
great
I
actor.
mean,
Yeah, great
yeah.
actors. Yeah. Uh, it's just funny because again, this was the time. I think right around this time was when The Watchmen did that Tulsa massacre or whatever
Oh yeah.
depiction, and like it was some small thing in history that was usually glossed over in most people's history books because there were so many fucking little things like these, during like the
Yeah.
segregation era.
But they make
Uh,
it to be like Black Wall Street or something like
yeah,
that. Is that
yeah.
what it's,
And
yeah.
that became like a huge sticking point, something like the Tuskegee Airmen, etc. And again, the way it's used, it's still funny. It's just a slight little reference, but I was just like, oh yeah, that's like a woke thing that's coming in. And this is because like Jay's trying to like at a parade and he's like trying to steal that like clown car or whatever from his buddy. And he's like, oh, my father was going to see me. He was a Tuskegee Airman. Like, which means that this guy's father is like 80 years old, 90 years old at this time. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was World War II era. Um, but still funny. And then that Jay gets in the car. Yeah, and that's the only reference, listener. So again, I don't want to overemphasize. It wasn't like, oh, it's woke trash, nothing like that. Just subtly, very subtly. But you still see it in almost every episode. There's like a reference to some like major like BLM, point that was going around culturally. Like, if you said anything about housing, well, now we have to go over 100 years of redlining and bullshit, all of this stuff. You can't even talk about current day things without having to, that was the real burden of wokeness and shit like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that was all I had for the first one.
I wrote down, I mean, the first thing we get in like the first scene, I think, is Jay finding out he's going to be the Grand Master of the parade because
Right.
the original Grand Master got Me Too'd.
Hmm.
So it was like, they really bring in like something that was going on at the time that was kind of brand new.
That's the first Me
Um,
Too reference, and there were several throughout
yes,
this.
there
Yeah.
are a few. There are a few. Um, and also, I did enjoy the Luke and Phil in a hot dog eating contest.
Yeah. Which was
Where Phil
also
in the
like
hot dog suit.
big at the time for I guess the social media like just viral moments like that. Like Joey Chestnut was always big, and like
Kobayashi and
Kobayashi that would always be on like ESPN every 4th of July. But then in the social media age, it just became like super gimmicky, right? Like I think even
it's
I,
very
I
Reddit.
I would bet Joey Chestnut makes most of his living off of social media and YouTube and
Oh
like
yeah,
what he posts on that, like his training process and all when he does like big eating contests. And he's so famous now, like Mr. Beast like has him come do videos with him and stuff
yeah.
to like eating competitions, and he's literally the best in the world. He's a fucking animal. Like, this guy eats incredible amounts of food in one sitting. Uh, but
Uh,
yeah, that was always like viral shit. Like, oh, hot Joey Chestnut wins the belt again. Like, like eating like 68 in 5 minutes.
yeah,
Like,
it was Reddit people that were like, dude, this is so epic.
it's
Yeah,
very red. Yeah, epic. It's very epic bacon. Like, yes, epic
yeah.
bacon, epic mealtime bullshit. Yeah,
Which this is like
very.
this is kind of the peak when that sort of stuff was going around.
Well, just like everything else, that stuff has devolved into like niche influencers. So like people that sit in their cars and like make like a Philadelphia cheesecake filling pie like by shoving like biscuits or like cookies like into the fucking cheesecake filling, like and like
In
eating it
their
in your car.
car.
Yeah, and like filming it and being like, this is a little treat with Cheetos smashed all over my McDonald's burgers or something. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
disgusting. Uh,
The other note I have is Alec just is like vegging out on the couch in a onesie, and then Claire joins her, and it's just these girls like wasting in a onesie. They have
yeah.
those little like long distance like grabber things, so they don't have to reach for stuff. Just watching TV, and it's like this was kind of the beginning like of people just wearing sweatpants everywhere, thinking it's okay to dress in a onesie when you're an adult.
And like go to a
Like
store like in that. Yeah.
yeah, and that's kind of like I mean that just wasn't heard of before. People didn't wear onesies. People had like jumpsuits maybe
Right.
like in the 80s, but it wasn't like this. Like I think Claire's wearing like some sort of like rainbow unicorn
Yeah.
onesie with the hood.
Like a
And
tie-dyed like
yeah,
Teletubby style. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
these like
there was a
animal
time when that was like
onesies.
going viral. People would like take pictures of that, or Halloween, people
Mhm.
would be like dressed as Pikachu, but it would just be like a pajama set for adults that's like
Yeah,
Pikachu looking or something like that.
this is a start. I mean, I think that sort of that again, the My Little Pony, the Bronies were big at this time.
Yeah, the weird internet
This all
things.
led to the furry shit later on, and they've
Dude,
referenced furries a couple times in the past seasons. So it's like,
how
yeah,
furries became a cultural phenomenon is just insane, dude. Like the fact
yeah,
that people are like proud to call themselves furries and stuff. Like again, this is like the sexual kinks as personality.
dude, Vegas has like furry conventions around here.
Yeah, dude.
They're near us, thousands of them sometimes.
And it's when they have the furry conventions or the EDC week, dude, where it's all like the fucking
Same thing.
freaks. Yeah, all the freaks wearing onesies come out and ruin your time here.
Yeah,
But yeah, dude, that's all. God, I mean, we've talked about the weird internet sexual fetish. People get memed into these weird sexual things all the time, and like, of course, they're doing that with like fucking dressing as an animal.
yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
The only other thing, Manny again off camera for most of the episode because he's
Yeah,
driving the car. In the season finale of season 9, he's driving the car to Rhode Island or something like that, and he has trouble getting over these bridges. So he phones in, and yeah, he has like two scenes, and it's over the phone. And I did enjoy the like Jay leading the parade at the start, and he wants to make sure everything's perfect. But Gloria fires the cannon, and then everyone starts marching, and he's trying to cut the ribbon with the big scissors. And he just screams out, "Damn it, Gloria, these aren't lefties!"
yeah.
Because he's having trouble with the scissors. Yeah, no, that was great. But that's kind of it for this episode. Yeah.
In episode 2, we have it's called Kiss and Tell. Um, and even this, like the notes I have, like in the very beginning, there's a quote that the line that Luke says to Jay or something when they're all coming over Jay's house. He says, "I don't know. It's not easy being a white man nowadays. Am I right?" And like slaps him on the back.
Hmm.
And Jay like looks at him like, "What?" Right. Yeah. And then we have Manny's gay. Now everybody doesn't know if Manny's gay or not all of a sudden because he's into art and finer things. And they say, oh, he has a fake girlfriend that he's making up. Literally, since Manny's been in college for the last several seasons, it's like he's had different girlfriends come through all the time. But suddenly, oh, we don't know if he's gay or not, and like this girlfriend he made up or something. Like when he's always been like getting girls out of his league with his art boy thing, like
Yeah.
uh, because we were talking about that because it's a very specific thing about when you're a straight man and if you're into art and literature and music and like plays and theater and all of that, there is always this like gay, you're gay, right? Like, oh, you're gay. Like,
Mhm.
not even as an insult. People just literally, legitimately, they don't know how to think about it other than if a man who is into this, he's gay, basically.
Yeah.
And it's kind of playing into that, right? This show that's literally the whole existence they've been kind of busting stereotypes, like making jokes out of it and kind of showing like yeah, the modern family, right? Like the different cultures clashing with each other. That's been like a theme, which we'll get to how they do it this season, which is different than the spirit of the last several, the previous seasons with the Jay's uncle or whatever at the Alamo or something,
Yeah.
yeah, like that thing. We'll get to that, and it's yeah, it's just something that always happens here. Yeah, like, and again, regular listeners to this know my thoughts on how this happened in our culture, and particularly in our field of literature and reading and writing. Queer theory is responsible for most of it, where
Mhm.
any type of male camaraderie, male on straight male and a straight male, being friends to the point where they love each other, just like the shorty stuff last season. You're my best friend. It's like, oh, isn't that a little gay to have a best friend? It's like a grown man thing
Yeah.
like that. Like every male relationship is now secretly gay coded according to queer theory, right? And that's just become the norm now when you're sitting in a literature class or any type of art class. at the college level or even at high school level and shit like that now, where it's just like, oh, actually, it's secretly gay. Did you know Abraham Lincoln was secretly gay because he told one of his friends that he grew up with that he loves him in a letter like once? Like, do you understand? Like, oh, so he was secretly gay. It's like maybe he was, but like we can't even prove that. So like, why are we even going down this hole?
Yeah.
And then the same type of thing, I think you and I even talked about it with going way back, Eric, a couple years ago when we did the Robinson Crusoe with his
And
the little
then
guy on
finally,
the island and Robinson, kind of have a relationship where they start to become very good friends and love each other. But it's like, oh, that's gay. It's
yeah.
gay.
No, I
Um,
mean it's like that, and they extrapolate that into like, oh, football is gay.
right,
So
because
it's
you're putting
football
your hands under the center's crotch and stuff. Yeah,
guys, and it's all
exactly.
guys, and in the locker room,
And
it's
they're
gay.
slapping
Yeah,
asses and yeah,
wrestling is gay. Any sort of thing where
yeah.
men congratulate each other and celebrate together is gay. And
And that's going to keep coming up just because it's a huge thing that happens. And I mean, it's not going away. I mean, that's the norm for all art and stuff now. Everybody's pretending, everybody's rewriting the previous scholarship and literature and saying
um,
it's like a secret gay thing. But
yeah,
Phil Mean Girling Jay.
yeah, that's that's great. Yeah, Jay makes his mint J lips, and Phil was uninterested. I thought that was great because it all started because Jay made a comment about him dancing at a wedding, and he called him Michael Jerkson. I love how at the end when Phil finally confronts Jay on it, and he's like, "It's all because of that name you called me at the wedding when I was dancing." And he's like, "What? Flail Dunphy? Shrill Dummy? When you when you were getting a drink, Spill Bumbly?" Like, and just repeating all these names that he called him at the wedding. And he's like, "No, Michael Jerkson." He's like, "Oh, I was just having fun."
Yeah, and that's what I was like, oh, Phil's doing a mean girl.
Mhm.
Also, again, cultural references to a huge movie, of course, that came out. When did Mean Girls come out? Like 20 years ago? It was like
Oh, more than
2003,
20.
like 2002. Like when the
Yeah,
fuck did that
yeah,
movie come
probably
out?
2003 sounds right. Maybe five.
If you're hearing this, it's because you are listening to the free public feed of Heavy Board. To get complete, uncensored, uninterrupted, full access to this podcast, become a subscriber at patreon.com/heavyboard. That's right, Heavy Board is made possible by subscribers like you. For less than 1 cup of coffee per month, you will receive private access to uncensored, full-length episodes, Jerk Shop, heavy bonus content, subscribers-only AMA episodes, bonus extended interviews, and more. Come join the conversation today at patreon.com/heavyboard.